Today we're talking about what to eat. So this is such a big topic. Patients come to me all the time over the last 20 plus years asking me, what do I eat for my body? And I reflect back at a time when I was a UC Davis student studying nutrition. And it was a class that I was taking basically where we had to collect all the food that we'd eaten all day long for a 24-hour period. And during this time, I had a big trash bag. It was like a black trash bag, hefty trash bag. And so every time we ate something, we'd eat the food, say an apple, and then we put an extra apple in the bag. So that at the end of the 24-hour period, basically we had a food, a trash bag full of food. On campus, we had an area where we analyzed all the food in a laboratory known as a food laboratory or food science. So I remember that day when we ground up my bag of all the food that I'd eaten for the day. And then we analyzed it. We took assessment of the food. We burned it in a calorimeter to find out the number of calories and protein and fat and fiber. And with all of that said, it really helped to analyze what I'd eaten in that bag. And it was kind of interesting to think about that all of that food turned to something possibly eventually in my body. And so that's why it's really important in this topic to think about what you're eating, because are you eating to live or are you living to eat? So the second one, if you're just living to eat, it's just like, you eat whatever you want because it feels good, because it tastes good, and because you don't care. And so that's not really the best outcome, as we know, in our lives. We should eat different foods in the season when it's cold than when it's hot in the summer or spring. So fall and winter have a different set of foods than spring and summer, totally different. And so it's important to remember that when it's cold outside, you eat something warm inside your body. And when it's hot outside, you eat something cooler, like salads and vegetables, which, so we really eat with the seasons, and you eat local, you eat with the season, and you also need to determine what your body really wants. Because many times, it's something that we want, the candy bar or the coffee, but does your body really want that? Because many times when you're in the middle of an addiction, because sugar can be just as addicting as cocaine, right? You with me? So the thing is that we want to make sure that, we're not talking through addiction, like, no, I really need this candy bar. Versus, once we become, really accustomed and we really like salads, as an example, the more we eat healthier foods, the healthier we become and the healthier our taste buds become. So you need to start working with your taste buds, step away from what I call the white trash. And so the general tips in the call to action that I have for you is really to start eating the rainbow. So I'd ask you to start eating the rainbow of food, which means that foods that have color have protection to them. So, why do you wear clothes when you go outside? Well, it's to protect you, right? And so you protect your upper body by putting on a jacket or some kind of a shirt. You also protect your head when it's cold, like putting on a ski cap or a hat of some sort. You protect your feet so they don't get cracked or injured, or hot on the hot pavement in the summer. So it's important that each food has a protection ability. But white trash, which is white flour, white sugar, white potatoes, things that don't have any color have no protection. It's as if you're going outside without any clothes on. And obviously, nobody would do that in their right mind. So the other thing to remember is why white trash is so bad for you. So white trash is defined as dairy and white flour and white sugar and anything that just has no value to it. It has a lot of calories, and French fries would be another white trash. So it has a lot of calories to it, but it has no nutritional value, no vitamins, no minerals, no enzymes. It's a dead food. That's the definition of white trash. So the first white trash would be cheese. So cheese is really not that good for you, nor dairy in general, because it coagulates, makes your blood kind of get sticky. It causes you to gain weight, which is never good for anyone. And it even clogs your arteries, your brain, and your heart. So the second white trash is white flour. So white flour clogs up your colon. It has no fiber in it, really. It has no nutritional value. And it just makes you tired, causes you weight gain. It just has no real value in it, which is why they have to add vitamins back to bread, such as Wonder Bread, because literally it would kill people so fast without adding some type of vitamins back to the bread or the flour. And the last one is sugar. White sugar is really acidic. All of these foods are acidic. That's the other problem with white trash. It has no nutritional value. It's high in calories, and it's very acidic. So sugar is acidic. Originally, sugar, came from the cane sugar. And, sugar cane, there's nothing wrong with sugar cane. In fact, I've had many experiences where I've gone to the farmer's market and chewed on some sugar cane. It just tastes really good. I mean, you could chew on that thing for hours and days. It just takes a long time to get the sweetness out of the sugar cane. And it really doesn't taste that sweet. It's just pleasant. But unfortunately, when you extract sugar and you take away all the vitamins that are in sugar cane, then you lose all of the nutritional value. And all of these white trash, components are really like a robber. It's like you wouldn't invite robbers or thieves to dinner because you know that they would steal all of your silverware, your plates, and possibly even your money in your house and rob you blind. And that's what happens with white trash. It robs you blind of nutrients. It actually costs you money or nutrients to process them. To digest white trash, it actually takes nutrients to process them. So it costs you in the long run to eat those foods, including pizza, donuts, cereal, etc. There's really 3 major diets that I can recommend right now in general. And one is the Ketotarian diet, which we know is kind of a high fat, lower, medium protein, low carb. Now, I did say Ketotarian. So, we think of a keto diet where people eat a lot of bacon like Atkins and all that. But this diet is meant to lose weight. So if you lower your carbs, you eat more vegetables, and you, eat more plant-based like eggs as a source of protein. You can still eat fish is really good because those things will reduce your inflammation, fish in general and the oils in fish. But that's really the best diet, I would say, at this point to lose weight. Because most people have been doing the opposite. When they're gaining weight, they're eating a lot of pizza, a lot of sugar and fries and bread, and the things that aren't good for you. The second type of diet to maintain is really more like a Mediterranean diet. So I would say that that's really great. A lot of good oils, olives, dark chocolate, dark greens, a salad every day, maybe some meat if you're up to it. Make sure it's organic. There's some fish usually, and some beans and legumes. So Mediterranean, that can also be very, very helpful, like a paleo as well. So the third diet really is more specialized for disease. So if you have a certain disease like diabetes or cancer, it's really about controlling your blood sugar. So the best way to do that is with a pH-rich diet, meaning that you're going to lower your acidity and you're going to eat more pH-rich, foods that are alkaline. And so alkaline diet is the best, which is raw, enzyme-rich foods, which are green salads and sprouts. And you really have to completely avoid any processed foods, beans, and no meat, really, for the most part, because it's too acidic. Lots of fruits, vegetables, very little grains. And so that's the third type of diet. So in general, those 3 types of diets kind of summarize. You either have disease or you are maintaining with the Mediterranean diet, vegan, Mediterranean, vegetarian diet, or you want to lose weight. So those are the 3 major types of diets, I would say. So another big topic is meat, So I always feel like meat is a big topic because a lot of people like meat as far as Americans are concerned. And so we have to realize that meat doesn't have a lot of value except for protein, a lot of, it does have B12 in it. So I'm under the impression of the feeling over the years, I've gone back and forth. I ate meat growing up, not a lot. I wasn't like really into meat. And then later on at times I really got into fish, and wild salmon is something that I think is very healthy overall. Atlantic salmon is, the best. And then you have to be careful with fish though, because it can have some mercury in it. So you just have to eat it in moderation. But really wild meat is, I would say, probably the best, like buffalo and elk and deer and bear. Maybe you have somebody that like I just have a patient that told me their son, hunted down a bear, like a 200-pound bear, if you can imagine, right? And so they're sitting down for Thanksgiving and having pieces of this bear, and they just have little steaks that are maybe the size of an egg, maybe a little bit bigger, like maybe a goose egg, that size. And they're just like, oh yeah, it was just like, I could barely eat the little steak of that bear. It was like so filling, so rich, because the bear was eating acorns, like all summer long. And so, so I know they're animal activists, and I know some of you are vegans and vegetarians, and some of you eat meat. So we just stay open to all of that. And I just say that, we honor all of that and your beliefs, but that the thing is that what's really most important is we eat enough vegetables and fruits, beans and berries and seeds, because those are the most protective. And if you do choose to eat meat, make sure you eat meat that's grass-fed, organic, free range. Free-range eggs are the best, and, with meat, it's just we have to be careful, that we don't get poor quality meat. For instance, chickens are the most abused and poorly treated of all the animals, and cows as well, because they're fed a lot of GMO corn, and it's just really terrible as far as what they're fed and how they're treated, and also, the meat, the quality of the meat. So one of the things that I've learned over the years is that meat becomes toxic. When you have whatever the chicken or the meat the animal eats, you get that toxicity into your body as well. So it's really critical to remember to eat healthy animals so that whatever they're eating will affect you and your body. To get the healthiest body possible, you need to eat a healthy animal that's eating healthy food. So the other area is drinks. People want to know, what should I drink? I get thirsty. When should I drink? So first of all, it's best to drink at least like 30 minutes before a meal. So you want to hydrate before you eat. That's always the best. Otherwise, you're diluting your food. Also, you want to drink an hour after a meal if you still get thirsty, so that your food is allowed, it gets a chance to digest. So with that said, the drinks that are the best is always water. You can add things to the water to make it, make sure it's warm or room temperature is always the best. That's why tea is really good. You can also drink, the water with your meal if you just drink a small amount and sip it. But the other part is you want to make sure you avoid sugary drinks that have high fructose is the worst, with coloring. So food coloring, high fructose, corn syrup is really the worst, and agave is not so good for you either. So you want to avoid fruit juices. Try to eat the fruit instead. And, unless it's concentrated fruit, like concentrated pomegranate juice, and then you want to dilute it, in water to make almost like a natural fruit drink. But otherwise, try to avoid processed Gatorade, juices, soda, and carbonated drinks. Mineral water, filtered water, and maybe a little splash of some concentrated, unsweetened fruit juice would be fine. And also lemon water is just really the best for you to help your acidity. You can also take a splash of apple cider vinegar. This is something that's really good for you. My wife loves doing this. She's done this for years, to take a splash in the morning when you first get up. And when you do the apple cider vinegar, it helps promote stomach acid, helps your digestion, and helps your body to get going. So one of the challenges I know as a parent, right, that you have is with your children. It's like, what can you do to help your children eat more food and more vegetables especially, right? Because the fruit tastes pretty good. to most kids, but the key is you want to start young. And so one of the things I did with my children is that when they were growing up is that I would actually fix them what I call green eggs and ham. So I didn't fix them ham, but the green eggs was I chopped up and put in a blender the eggs, free range organic eggs. And then I put in things like parsley and maybe a little bit of kale or spinach. I ground them up so that they couldn't tell what was in there, but they thought that was pretty cool because to them it was like, something out of Dr. Seuss. And so that was really a fun experience for them. And to this day, my daughter tells me today that she really remembers that, that I fixed her green eggs. She thought that was like amazing and kind of magical. And so I encourage you to really start to slip things in, work with seasonings and spinach and things that, this is what Popeye ate, or this will make you strong. This will put more muscles on your body and make you strong and just make it fun, So like when I, grew up, Popeye the Sailor Man was a big thing with spinach, and that's what made Popeye strong. And unfortunately, we don't really have a lot of those mentors right now. There was Barney the dinosaur. That was when my kids were growing up. But so the point is that we just want to make food fun. So go shopping with your kids, put things into omelets that they've never seen before and grind them up, finely so they can't find them. But just make them kind of fun colors, and you can put ants on a log, which is celery, peanut butter, and raisins. So just make it fun. Look on the internet, look for some fun food. And I call it the food adventure. So you need a food adventure, which is going outside, looking for food, going to the farmer's market with your kids, and then putting it all together on a Saturday. Maybe even doing some juicing. Juicing is a fun way to get a lot of food into somebody that's concentrated and healthy, like apples and carrots really taste very sweet. So those are the sweet foods, apples and carrots. And then you can also put a little bit of beet, a small amount of beet to turn it kind of purplish looking. So make it fun. Fun is important. It's got to be fun food and a food adventure for your kids. So let's summarize for a minute. So basically, we talked about what do I eat? It's important to remember that if you don't eat the rainbow, then it's as if you forgot to put your shoes on when you went outside. You might have dressed, with a jacket and some pants, but you forgot to put your shoes on. So nobody would do that either, so we don't want extreme situations where we forget to protect our bodies. So remember, this is the only body you have in this life, and you need to learn how to protect it. And protection means eating the rainbow of life, which is beans, berries, green vegetables, onions and garlic. Now that's kind of the exception. I know those are kind of white colored foods, but they are very good for you. But the majority of foods like white flour, dairy, sugar, and all of those things are not good for you because they have no phytonutrients to protect you. So remember, if a food has color to it, like squashes, pomegranates, blueberries, then it has the ability to protect you for your life. And the more that you eat them, the more protection you have to protect you from cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and so on. And so remember, the best way is to eat nutrient-dense foods, eat the rainbow, and I challenge you to eat at least one salad every day for lunch. That's a good place to start, is eat one healthy meal every day in the middle of the day with a healthy salad dressing, and that's a good place to start. Know that we have a clinic, so if you want further information, summersholistichealth.com is the website. And I'm Scott Summer. I've been practicing holistic medicine for more than 22 years. And my staff and I and my wife and I are here to serve you and to show you more about how to be healthy in this day and age and how to protect and how to heal and how to reverse disease and how to stay healthy and happy the rest of your life.